what can people do? What should people do? What do people need to do?
Well, the first part of all of this, I think, is we could be in something for the long haul. So it's good to kind of start to accept that this is a long journey. And the other is to think, well, how do I look after myself? How do I be psychologically and emotionally better able to deal with this? And it's good to, if people are feeling, because of what's happening, if they're feeling angry or anxious or all of these, kind of go, okay, these are absolutely normal. Humans don't like lots of uncertainty. It's not a thing we really like. And we can react in different ways. Anger, we can become despondent, or we can reach out and do things. So it's important to kind of go, well, how can I be best for myself, firstly, in this? And I think a lot of that is actually about saying, well, what can I do that's nice and fruitful and enjoyable? And how do I look after myself? And what do I not do that's probably destructive? So, if you're finding yourself on Twitter or these other social media, sort of screaming through things for hours, getting yourself wound up and angry, you're not contributing to your own mental well-being. You're probably not contributing to anybody else's. It is just kind of getting locked into a loop or a void or a chain of anger or a chain of anxiety. So these kind of saying, well, it's just gone on for a long time. Maybe it's time to think about those sort of things, because it's pretty unproductive. It's probably making you unhappy. There's probably an addictive quality to it. In other words, one would rather be in a loop of anger or fear or fascination, because it's familiar feeling, rather than the void of, well, what do I do? I'm on my own, And the first thing is, these are human feelings. They're not there to be ashamed about. They're just the way things are. So as I said, part of that is protecting ourselves, where we see that sort of behavior, rationing it, and kind of watching it. And the other is saying, well, what could I be doing instead? And some of that is just, and sometimes it takes practice. So it could be, for some people, teach yourself some mindfulness, just, how you take a break, how you sort of be still with the moment and the present, and sort of concentrate on one's breath as a way of just grounding. So those sort of practices, I think, are very useful. Physical exercise, just walk, etc. And if some of those can be turned into things that are actually contributing to our future welfare, even better. So we live in a world where, in many ways, we're destroying the natural world. So going out and saying, what is the natural world around me, even if I live in a city or whatever, is what's there? Notice it, enjoy it, explore it, learn a bit about it, become familiar with it. And also in terms of relationships with one's close ones, again, how do we manage those? It's like being locked up, as I'm sure many people are now, in some sort of quarantine, and we know that domestic violence is rising out of it. It's very sad. It's it's hurtful. We need to look both at our own behaviour if we're involved in. It doesn't have to be violence, but it can be other types of things. How are we making others feel bad? How are we distributing our anxiety onto others? And again, it can be kind of addictive, like following Twitter and following anger cycles on Twitter. So, these sort of things that are very personal, but they're absolutely inherent to how well we'll deal with this world we're moving into. So it's an opportunity. This is, we're at the beginning of a journey. you know, you prepare. So if you're going off on a great adventure, you don't just walk out your door. You know, there's a time of preparation. You say, what do I need to carry? What do I need to leave behind? And how can I do it? And I think that sort of thought. And one of the things about these sort of volatile and more dangerous times is, you know, again, it's not a criticism. It's human behavior. You know, we at levels we've to accept part of who we are. And one thing that can be there is the instinct to contract in groups and out groups. You kind of go, well, I will look after myself and my family. You know, sort of beans, guns, and whatever. But I think it's both safer ultimately and more constructive not to say in a crisis, what will I do to save myself and my family? Think in a crisis, how can I help? Because help reaches out, gives a more noble goal. That's the story of heroism, is reaching out. Nobody ever talks about the hero who, you know, just looked inward. It's, you know, how do you contribute? Also, for security terms, you know, if your community is safer, you're safer. And if it's seen that you can contribute to that safety, you'll be protected and be a valuable member of it. So we need to work against the kind of myself, ourself, and kind of think, how can I help? So I think these sort of psychological terms, how we talk about and how we phrase what resilience and preparedness is very important. And then there are ultimately, where are the practically, what do we do? Well, you know, what do we need? We need food, we need water, we need shelter, we need security, and we need some sort of other people community. So, you know, and that is beyond security. It's the pure other people. You know, there's a reason why putting people in solitary confinement is considered torture. You know, so all of those things are there. Now, really, in our modern world, beyond a very few people, you know, the ability to seriously grow food like your life depends upon it is pretty high skill. It's very different from going to buying seeds in a shop and sticking them in the garden and boom, up come your greens. That's not growing like you need to feed yourselves, like your life depends upon it. That's the cartoon version. So, you know, these skills need to be developed in terms of food growing, preserving, all of these things. And because we might know, and we're living in a more volatile climate and all of these, that all adds to the uncertainty. These things are actually probably best done in groups, where we learn together, share together, you know, fail, learn from each other, and it's fun. You know, that's the important side of, you know, don't be looking at all the bad things are happening, make a break for taking some sort of action in response to, you know, that uncertainty, is to find your core in your practice, in what you're doing with people, and, you know, in your physical interaction with those around you and with things. So food, water, and all, you know, these sort of things that you need, they'll all be very different for different people. And then the other thing is, again, you know, we're all different, and we're all going to have propensities and feel more comfortable doing X or Y. So it's not like we should all be doing anything in particular. But, you know, where you have an opportunity socially with others to influence your local government and to influence other people, you know, that's a powerful thing. And again, it's about the same things: food, water, shelter, community, security. Yeah, so it's just at a larger scale. And what we know, I certainly know in the city that I'm living near in Dublin, is, you know, sometimes you don't see an opportunity until you really shake things up and say, ah, but there are. And, you know, we know that, you know, in my village, now outside of Dublin, it's become bigger, more people are living here. But you see all the opportunities of, well, there's lots of public land. Now, on one side, you say food growing, but another side, which is pretty dear to my heart, is, you know, we've taken so much animal habitat, you know, to say, well, can we be wild part of it? Rather than the council going around and cutting the lawns of the council land where it's all this monoculture green that's sort of fake nature. It's, you know, simulacra of nature. Simulacra, excuse my pronunciation. And yeah, there are always things to do. Make nature better, make food security better, help make your neighbors better, contribute. So I think, you know, in the end, it's this coalescing of things to accept certain things, to prepare oneself and one's family like one's going on a great journey, and realize what are the things you need to look after and prepare. What can you do yourself? What can you do with others? And how can you be a catalyst with whatever level of predilection or skill you already have?
Well, David, I think that is wonderful food for thought. And I think this is a great place to end for today, so people have a chance to really take in the things that you've shared and maybe rewatch this. So again, this was Aaron Wissner. I'm on the line, have been on the line with David Korowicz from Ireland, who has been thinking about these sorts of events happening in the world for a very long time. And I love what you have had to say. Hey, and if you appreciate hearing from David and having me have him on the line, then please subscribe and hit the bell so you get notifications, because I'll try to continue bringing stuff like this to you. Put a comment in, hit the like, and that's a way to, you know, stroke my ego a little bit so I keep doing what I'm doing.